Super Prize Fighter! By 1995, Capcom had perfected the tournament fighter with their release of Super Street Fighter II Turbo into arcades. One of the most celebrated and balanced fighters ever. It became the gold standard that is still used at major tournaments today like EVO, and it's just amazing. On the consoles, the mighty SNES has 3 Street Fighting games, with Turbo Edition being one of the gamers still fondly remember to this day. Not to be outdone, the Genesis had 2 under its belt, the excellent Special Champion Edition and the Super Street Fighter II, the new Challengers. Not bad. The Mighty Morphin Power Rangers made their TV debut in 1993 on the stellar Fox Kids block of programming, and speaking as a 90s kid that grew up with it, it was awesome! Tiny Toons, X-Men, Bobby's World, Spider-Man, The Tick, Eek the Cat, even Batman the Animated Series before it shipped off over to the WB. It was just a fun, wacky, and it was full of toot, and I loved it.
Will be right back.
Fox Action Theater.
Starting initially in the 70s as Super Sentai and piggybacking off of the idea introduced by martial art motorcycle fighters Kamen Rider. I don't care! Power Rangers captured the imagination of a generation of kids, myself included, that were all about beating up their friends at school and striking cool poses. Its meteoric rise inevitably led to mass merchandising, and video game adaptations would follow as well. The first outing on the Sega Genesis would actually be a tournament fighter that's very different from the game we'll be looking at today, and someday we'll check that sucker out too. The first SNES Rangers game was a straight-up beat-em-up that was good but lacked a 2-player mode, and it was on the easier side. The follow-up was another beat-em-up that had 2 planes to jump around in and included 2 players, but I didn't like this game nearly as much for some reason. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the Fighting Edition featuring Ivan Ooze, there's a mouthful, was released in 1995. It was published by Bandai and developed by Natsume. Natsume were known as a solid developer, and their games always had excellent graphics, music, while offering game players good challenge and control. They were one of the best cornerstones of 8-bit gaming on the NES, with releases like Abadox, Shadow of the Ninja, Shatterhand, and the super sweet Power Blade. By the 16-bit era, they had fallen a bit from their former grace, but still churned out greats like Wild Guns, Pocky, and Rocky, as well as one of the most underrated wrestling games, Natsume Championship Wrestling!
Stop! He's already dead!
Fighting Edition forgoes the teenagers fighting and goes straight to the robot battles. Yes! Kind of like when you watch a Godzilla movie, you just want to skip all that scientist crap and get right to the monster mashing. Oh yeah, the good stuff. Our roster is the standard size of 8, so a bit small. We have a mix of good guys and bad guys to pick from. There's Thunder Megazord, Ninja Megazord, Shogun Megazord, Mega Tiger Zord, Lipsyncer, Goldar, Lord Zed, and Silver Claws. With a cheat code, we can unlock the final boss, Ivan Ooze, who is totally overpowered and cheap as hell. While the roster is small, I think it would have been great to include the OG Megazord and Dragon Zords in there. Come on, am I right? That would have ruled. Also, where is Rita Repulsa? She definitely needed to be in this game for sure, so the roster kind of dropped the ball a little bit, could have been way better. Now with the controls, we have 2 punch buttons of various strengths and 2 weapon attacks. As always, doing certain button combinations will unleash our special moves, and getting in close, we can throw our opponent. We also have the ability to dash and backdash by pressing towards or away twice, and you can even do dash attacks, which pleasantly surprised me. Very nice. At the bottom is our power gauge. Performing special moves, as the gauge fills to the top, we'll increase it by 1 to a total of 3. When you time it with a special move, you can do a powered up version of that move, like an EX move. And when it's full, you can execute a super move for a limited time. And I want to say, some of those super moves are a pain to pull off. For whatever reason, I don't know why, but it's hard to pull off these moves for me. Also, if you want to see all those super moves, you can check out a video I specifically made for that. Despite the difficulty of executing the super moves, everything else controls and handles very well. And the graphics, okay, so Natsume did very well depicting the various monsters and Zords. All of them look bright and colorful, and the sprites are quite large. The attention to detail is nice too. Lord Zed has his staff. He uses to bash his rivals. Shogun Megazord is a hulking brute that moves very slow. Zordon in the back of the command center, and there's just little things like that all over the place. The cutscenes look outstanding, showing the smaller Zords combining together. Very cool. Depending who you pick, the cutscene will change too. Very sweet. Also, after you're done putting a whooping on an opponent, they do that weapon sheath explosion cool looking pose. They're really cool. I love that. The locations that you fight in are also very colorful. There's the Power Rangers Command Center, which you'll be seeing a lot, unfortunately. There's the outside of a shopping mall, a canyon, an airport, even a fight on the moon itself. Most areas are nicely detailed, and the fighters tower over some of the buildings in the background, which is kind of cool for a giant robot fighting game. There's not a lot of places to fight in, but I like the ones that are here. Natsume is also known for their exceptional music, and the game gets that in spades. Their rendition of the Power Rangers theme song is very well done. No voice work, but still good. And well, here's some examples for you. Top-notch fighting game music, and in the sound effects department, pretty good here too. The sounds of your robots getting hit and giving punishment is not too shabby. Not many groans or grunts, I noticed though, but that's okay. With gameplay modes, well, there's three. We have your story mode, which, I mean, there's no two ways about this. It's no story being told here. They included those awesome cutscenes, but there's no text or anything detailing any kind of a story. And also, you can only pick from 2 fighters in this mode. What the hell is that all about? They really dropped the ball here, sadly. The fighting mode is your standard versus mode where you pick your guys and duke it out. Hitting the select button on player 2 will change it to a computer opponent, which is always nice. Sadly, you can't pick where you fight, which is kind of a big bummer. And try mode is a survival mode. Select your person, see how far you can make it, which at the time was a novel idea, it was. That's about it for modes. The fact that you can't select where to fight, how many rounds, or any other mode option kind of stinks though. Gaming magazines for the time were not too kind to the Power Rangers. GamePro magazine gave it an 11.5 out of a possible 20, saying that the characters and backgrounds were flat, and to turn off the music and sound effects because you can hum better ones? No way. That is brutal. No way. Nintendo Power number 77 were much kinder to the Rangers, saying it's a good 2-player game with fun and easy moves to do, but hardcore fighting fanatics will find little challenge. Nah, that's fair. Overall, I had a good time playing Power Rangers Fighting Edition. The graphics are bright and colorful with some nice detail. The music is solid, the controls aren't too bad even though the supers are tough to pull off. While the roster isn't that big, and you're limited to only 2 choices in story mode, fans of the franchise will love it. Power Rangers The Fighting Edition is a competent fighter. You can do much, much worse on the SNES, which we'll get to.